like meeting people, so I like little events like this. I wouldn't go out of my way to meet someone who I don't think I would enjoy meeting. There are enough people out there in the world where I just know there are a lot of great people who really love what they do, and a lot of people who are really inspirational. So, no, I enjoy that part. And so even if there are people who are whatever, significant people in a certain industry, let's say it's a builder, and they do all the most expensive homes in whatever community, but they're difficult people, or they don't respect architects. I don't bother, and I'm probably leaving work on the table, but it's work that I prefer not to have, So that's my filter. I just learned in my career. The filter is I have to really believe in, and I have to really enjoy what I'm doing and the people that I'm working with. Um, That's interesting. I mean, the next generation, not my generation, but the generation that follows mine, cares a lot about live-work balance, right? Life-work balance. And I think in a lot of people's minds, that means work, then you stop work, and then you live, right? But as a creative person, whether you're an artist or a decorator or an architect, I think we have the luxury of loving what we do, hopefully. You should love what you do, and so working is living. It's one thing, right? So if that's the case, then I don't have anxiety over, say working over, past 6 because I love what I do. But the flip side is you have to love what you do. So if you don't love the way that you're working and you think you're going to get there someday, I think that's the wrong way to work. I think if you don't love what you're working on right now, there's something wrong with how you're working right now. And you should pivot or redirect or whatever you want to call it, but you want to craft a situation where, yeah, you're really enjoying and being fulfilled by what you're working on. And I don't see it as a pivot. Once you realize that, it's not a major pivot, let's put it that way. You should always be micro-adjusting, assessing what you're doing, and making these little adjustments just so you make sure you don't wind up in a place where you're not enjoying what you're doing. Otherwise, you should do something else. Yeah, well, for sure. So I get a lot of inspiration through travel, for instance. And I also get a lot of inspiration currently through landscape. So whether it's natural landscape or landscape design, it's actually sort of a regret that I didn't study landscape design at the same time I was studying architecture. But actually, when I say that aloud, I don't regret it at the same time because I get to collaborate with a lot of really great landscape architects. So that's fun for me. So that's something that's definitely influenced the work more and more as I progress. It's less and less about just the house or just the architecture. It's how it relates to these other things. So whether it's the natural landscape or view or how it is working in collaboration with the landscape design. So that would be an example of something recent where my interests have definitely had an influence on the work. Yeah. I tell my colleagues and my friends they should think about where they want to be in 5 years because it might help them kind of assess where they are now and see if there are things that they should correct. But at the same time, I know that my interests might change. So I don't stress about it too much. They're, things I'm really interested in at the moment. And so I might plan, I might create not a bucket list, but a list of things I want to do because of those interests. But they're not set in stone. That is constantly evolving, and the list a year from now might be totally different than it is now.